Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy with Denzel Washington. We want to say hi to everybody at the
PWR show. Dave Hero, you're doing a great job with your benefit.
Dave, yeah. Are you kidding me?
No, sir.
I practically raised this kid. Darn right. Hey, Dave. I didn't know he was up there.
Hey, and of course, if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. Suck it!
Now that was my fault.
This week on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, we bring you Be the Booker for the main event of TNA Turning Point, discussion on the turmoil surrounding the WWE Survivor Series main event or events. And a new lawsuit is filed against TNA and Hulk Hogan and Jeff Hardy. And Ring of Honor has a brand new authority figure. All that and more starting right here, right now on My 24 Milwaukee. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night. Damian Nelson sitting here alongside David Activities of Iberia, the alleged backyard one-time Hall of Fame Knockout Divas Hardcore Champion, Hero. Hello, David. How are you?
I'm fine, but I don't want to be called a Divas and Knockouts champion.
Well, I mean,
That's Mike Wickett. That's Sparkzilla. Never been me.
thank you for joining us wherever you may be, especially those of you joining us here on television in Milwaukee and southeastern Wisconsin on My 24. Let's get right to it, though. Let's go to this week's WWE report. And big news on Monday this past Monday, David Hero.
Huge.
The Survivor Series got shaken up. The main event that was announced last week is no more. The main event gets a big change. Miz and Punk are out. Barrett and Ziggler are in. And a new main event of John Cena versus Ryback versus CM Punk is now on for the WWE Championship. Talk about a change in course. WWE made a major one this past Monday.
And they're not even done yet because they still need to find that fifth person for Team Mick Foley.
A mystery opponent, which will be announced this upcoming Monday night.
You know, obviously they watched last week's PWR show Primetime because we sat here and I said without a fact of a doubt that this Survivor. Yes, I'm a little discombobulated right now. I'm still frustrated from everything that's gone on this week. There's been a lot of shenanigans.
So you're a sore loser.
No. What I'm saying is that with Linda losing $100 million, that means the price of WrestleMania tickets are going to have to go up.
So we're on sale today. We've already got ours.
Right. So if you didn't get yours already, you're kind of, stuck. And just imagine how many more John Cena T-shirts.
The matter at hand.
Yes, is that Linda McMahon has lost $100 million.
The matter at hand, what we're talking about, because that's the next story that you've now ruined, is the change to the Survivor Series main event. You were saying, just to put you back on track, that they're not done yet. They still have to figure out what the hook is.
Yeah, they still need to find that fifth person for Team Foley. And let's go back a year. We had The Rock and John Cena against The Miz and R-Truth. Mm-hmm. Now you have Ryback in the main event. Right, now you have Ryback in the main event. A guy that the fans are cheering, that they think is amazing, but the boys in the back, the guys that make the decisions, the creative control people, aren't confident that he can get the job done.
Let's be real here. Ryback, does he, in most people's minds in WWE, amount to nothing more than a substitute?
No, yes, but I think he has value.
Absolutely.
I think that he is definitely a star. And I think if put in the right situation, can be very, very good for Team Monday Night Raw.
And those teams as they are right now is Ziggler's team now, where he's the captain apparently, includes Cody Rhodes, Damian Sandow, Alberto Del Rio.
I know you want to talk about Cody and Miz and that entire Survivor Series match. And what right now we need to talk about... Right now, what we need to talk about is Ryback. He is going to be put in a position where he just might fail and be terrible at it. Because you are now putting Ryback, who is the hot new star on Raw, correct? Mm-hmm. In the ring with the number 1A and the number 1B guys in the company, John Cena and CM Punk. Now, I'm sure both John Cena and CM Punk can do business, but they also have a guy now in the ring with them that is just taking a little bit of that T-shirt money, merchandise, TV time. He's getting the loudest pops, on the show. And at the end of the day, even though I'm sure they say they're fine with it, they're not fine with it. Ryback could be exposed and ruined at the Survivor Series.
And we'll find out in just 2 weeks' time when the Survivor Series does indeed take place. Other news in WWE, and this one not good for her. Linda McMahon in her second bid, the United States Senate, and she lost that bid along with a total of $100 million. Here's the question, though, David Hero, and I don't know what she stood for, what her platform was, any of that, because it's in Connecticut, and I don't care. But did her WWE past and her association with wrestling put her in such a place where she could have never won? I think it was 45% of the votes or whatever. She didn't tank, but she didn't win again. And this McMahons don't like to lose.
I'm sure it didn't help. I'm sure that the McMahons may not be that popular in Connecticut. I'm sure they see them as arrogance, as lowbrow, as whatever. And oh my gosh, do we want the wrestling business involved in politics? It worked with Jesse Ventura.
Exactly.
It worked with B. Brian Blair.
Absolutely.
Not so much with Vinnie Mac. You know what?
Didn't work with Backlund, didn't work with Waller either.
Listen, here's what I think it was.
What was it, David?
I think Linda McMahon said, Vince,
Yes, Linda.
XFL, WBF,
Ico
Pro, he blew $100 million. She probably figured, you know what? I want $100 million, and I'm going to put it into politics.
It's funny as we talk about this money lost, and one of the candidates in the presidential campaign got a sum of about $400 million from businesses and Sheldon Adelson's and whatnot of the world. And apparently they're all pissed because he lost. And they're like trying to find an explanation for where their money went. All that money's a throwaway anyways, whether your guy wins or loses. It's just fascinating how this money works, or how that game works. But I really think Linda was damaged by her affiliation with WWE.
If you're going to spend that much money, invest in those voting machines.
Right.
And
exactly.
And make sure that they count your way.
Maybe the answer is in who comes next in WWE, and his name is Fandango.
You notice they fixed that.
Fandango?
It was Fandango. And then they realized that they had an extra O in the goo, so they took that out, and now it's Fandango. That it was ridiculous.
Most are saying it's going to be Johnny Curtis.
Yeah, you know what? And that makes sense. Johnny Curtis of NXT, good-looking young guy. I think he could. Hopefully, they change the name because that's not going to get over.
Fandango.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think that was going to be the name of the entertainment complex that was going to be built next to MetLife Stadium. That has been a drama if you follow that whole thing going out in the Meadowlands. But you speak of NXT, and this guy who came up from NXT tried to explain himself this past Monday night. His name, Brad Maddox, and he tried to explain his actions at Hell in a Cell. And he did so in what I thought, David, was a believable way. At least the story made sense.
I thought he was a whiner. I thought he sat there and he complained. He said, he's like, I can't do flips. I don't have freakish strength. I don't have monster size. I'm just your average person.
He's no me.
Well, that's why you haven't been picked up and put into a big angle. You don't have that it factor about you. And yes, I'm sure there are hundreds of independent wrestlers across the nation that were cheering Brad Maddox, and saying, yes, I agree with you, Brad Maddox. The fact is there's only so many Kanes and Brock Lesnar's and Rocks and Steve Austin's, guys that have that it quality about him. Now, Brad Maddox, he found his niche. He's now the second coming of Danny Davis, and he might get a good 1 or 2 year run at this.
Well, he gets a shot at $1 million contract in a match with Ryback this upcoming Monday night. You got to imagine, somehow or another, Ryback's going to lose that match.
Well, of course, and he'll lose by disqualification. He's not going to get pinned, which only then creates more fire for Ryback going forward into the Survivor Series.
This past Wednesday night, David Hero, the main event on Ion, a tremendous show. It delivered again this week. The main event was Sheamus versus Wade Barrett. Big Show on commentary along with The Miz. At one point, Big Show getting ready to attack Michael Cole and The Miz. Everything going on during that particular main event was just tremendous, and tremendous wrestling from them as well. And let's not forget another great matchup between Heath Slater and R-Truth to round out that show. Really like what they're doing Wednesday nights on Ion is WWE.
You know what? The main event on Wednesday nights might be their best show all week. It's 1 hour. It's compact. It's 2 solid, good matches. and you're in and out, and you're getting exactly what you want.
Jerry Lawler is set to return to WWE Raw on Monday night. This should be very special. As you know, Jerry Lawler suffering a heart attack a couple of weeks back and is back now on WWE programming this upcoming Monday night. Pomp and circumstance will certainly be in play.
It's going to be very interesting because right now, in my opinion, the commentary team of JBL, Jim Ross, and Michael Cole has been very solid. I think the program has actually gotten better with the King off of TV because they're now able to tell stories about the matches, what's going on, laying groundwork, history, the whole thing wrapped up into one, and it's not so much funny haha.
You talk about JBL, and JBL has signed a brand new full-time contract with WWE. Bradshaw announced the news on his Facebook page, and he said, and I quote, "Very happy WWE and I have worked out a deal for me to return on a full-time basis. There came a need when my friend Jerry Lawler had a heart attack and was not able to work. However, I realized how much I enjoyed being back, and this was the basis for my decision to return." Bradshaw expected to round out the team of him and Josh Matthews over on the SmackDown side of things.
And I think JBL brings a ton of knowledge to that brand. He is the guy that can help those heels get far more over than they ever could have before.
And you know he is a wrestling god.
That's the rumor.
Well, there's so much more still to come here on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, including Be the Booker for TNA Turning Point, at least the main event anyways. A major announcement, David Hero, regarding Blizzard Brawl coming to Milwaukee on December 1st. TNA and Ring of Honor news, and this week's Star of the Week. Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night continues right after this. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report, primetime Saturday night. Damian Nelson here alongside David Octavius Hero. And it's time for Be the Booker for the main event this Sunday at Turning Point from TNA Wrestling. As you know, David, we brought a special edition of Be the Booker to all the fans all over the world yesterday on our website, pwrshow.com. You can check that out. But we can also give you a summary of the way you would book, fantasy-wise, these matchups if you were the man holding the pencil and deciding the termination of these matchups on pay-per-view. So, David Hero said that Devon Dudley would get the win over Kurt Angle. Devon Dudley still showing strength in his group, the Aces and Eights.
Aces and Eights helping Devon get the win over Kurt Angle.
The television championship will stay around the waist of Samoa Joe in what would be and should be a great matchup between he and Magnus, especially with the no disqualification stipulation. Tag team championship move on to the waist of Kaz and Daniels, leaving Chavo and Hernandez Supermax. Number one contenders matchup for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Triple threat, and the loser does not get a title shot until next year's Bound for Glory at the earliest.
If he earns one at next year's Bound for Glory.
Deck definitely stacked against the man who gets pinned in this matchup, and you said that that's going to be James Storm. AJ Styles getting the win, and then it leads into the World Heavyweight Championship. It is a ladder match, ladies and gentlemen, a tremendous match it will be, I'm sure. Jeff Hardy defending his championship against Austin Aries, and let's not lose sight of the fact that both these men are on the winning team right now, the Nelson family, and they are in the main event this Sunday at Turning Point. So, David Hero, this match is going to be tremendous. It's going to be tricky to figure out who might win it as well.
You're going to be in Orlando.
I will be in Orlando.
Who are you going to cheer for?
I'm actually leaving for Orlando as soon as we're done here.
I understand that. Who are you going to cheer for?
Who am I going to cheer for?
Yeah.
Well,
let's put Damian Nelson on the spot.
Austin Aries is hometown hero here.
So you're going to cheer against Jeff Hardy, is what you're telling me.
I'm going to be impartial, unbiased. I'm gonna recognize the talents and the contributions of both men in this matchup, knowing that the best man will win.
And the best man that's going to win is the guy that needs this match more than anybody else. Jeff Hardy, he is the TNA Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. He's a rock star.
No, he's a wrestler.
He's a rock star and a wrestler.
RVD's not on this card.
He is well known around the world. He is an established superstar. Then you have Austin Aries, the young lion, the up-and-comer, the guy that has done nothing but put in 5-star matches since he's returned to TNA Impact Wrestling. But he hasn't had that big victory. Yes, he's beaten Bobby Roode. Yes, he's beaten Bubba Ray Dudley. But he has yet to beat Jeff Hardy. And what better way to elevate Austin Aries than to beat Jeff Hardy in his own match, the ladder match? That's why I'm going to say Austin Aries
big time there.
becomes the new TNA Impact World Heavyweight Champion by defeating Jeff Hardy in Jeff Hardy's match, a ladder match, Sunday night in Orlando, Florida.
Really? New
Absolutely.
champion.
New champion.
Big win for Jeff.
Well, no. Jeff doesn't need to win. He's already the established star. Now, everyone wanted Austin Aries to win last month at Bound for Glory. He didn't. Beating Jeff Hardy in his match is now a bigger victory for Austin Aries than beating him last month at Bound for Glory in a regular match.
Is it a better story, though, going forward for Austin Aries to be chasing after Jeff Hardy to still try to get that championship? Or have we seen enough of that already?
Because you have this matchup here.
Setting up the next phase.
So now you got to figure AJ will then chase Austin Aries.
Fantastic. That'll put my ass on a seat.
Well, you'll be standing, because where you normally are, it's standing room only.
There's chairs and catering. Gosh, you're so naive at times. All of the details and information on this pay-per-view will be available on our Twitter account, David Hero, and
follow us on Twitter
at PWR Show on Twitter. And again,
are you live tweeting tomorrow night from the Impact Zone?
I'm probably going to spend more time enjoying it as a fan and tweet as necessary. But yes, there'll be a couple of tweets coming from me down in the Impact Zone tomorrow night. I won't be tweeting tonight from the OBT, so nobody wait for that. And
you're sitting with Dixie, I understand, correct?
Yeah, between her and Serg.
Must be nice.
Well, that is Be the Booker for this Sunday's TNA Turning Point on pay-per-view. And we're talking about big wrestling events. David Hero, Blizzard Brawl comes to the Waukesha, Wisconsin Expo Center.
We're 3 weeks away.
In just 3 weeks on Saturday, December 1st. In just a moment, we have a major announcement regarding Blizzard Brawl. A huge star has been signed, and a huge moment will take place. Blizzard Brawl coming up on December 1st. Blizzard Brawl on Saturday, December 1st, 2012 at the Waukesha County Expo Center. A lot of names gone over in that spot, but there are more names, including Honky Tonk Man, announced for that show on December 1st. All the information.
The Honky Tonk Man, Larry Zbyszko, Demolition is going to be there.
Axe and Smash?
Axe and Smash, of course, are the GLCW Tag Team Champions.
You know, they're recipients of the Pro Wrestling Report Lifetime Achievement Award. They're in the West Wing.
Demolition, Bobby Brahina, last year's Mean Gene Okerlund.
And joining them this year, ladies and gentlemen, major announcement here, the next inductee into the Pro Wrestling Report Hall of Fame, if you will, the Lifetime Achievement Award winner for this year, added to Blizzard Brawl.
Yes.
And he is a legend, of course, in the professional wrestling business. Big, sexy Kevin Nash will be at Blizzard Brawl, and he will receive the Lifetime Achievement Award this year from the Pro Wrestling Report. Always a
Magic moment. Mike Tarzan for Magic Mike.
Absolutely. Oz, Vinny Vegas,
Master Blaster, Wolfpack.
That happens on Saturday, December 1st. Kevin Nash receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award, joining some epic people in the West Wing of the Pro Wrestling Report.
You know, can you imagine what he's going to have to say?
I can imagine.
I mean, he always has a story, and I can only imagine You two guys in the ring, that's shenanigans.
Well, speaking of shenanigans, big news just coming to you here tonight. We got a lot of announcements here tonight, David Hero.
Humongous.
Survivor Series coming up in 2 weeks, and guess who's giving you the chance to watch it for free? Ladies and gentlemen, here's the information. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report. Primetime Saturday night. Damian Nelson sitting alongside the Spin Master, David Hero. And,
I didn't spin anything this week.
You spun me right round. I mean, my head hurts from sitting here listening to what you might be trying to say. Because it's just so unclear.
I speak the truth.
What are you wearing that DUI bracelet for?
No. You know what it was? Believe it or not, I was a chaperone.
Wait,
I was.
You were in that movie?
No. First of all, I was a chaperone. I took, senior intern Cal and his class. We went down to the museum, and they gave me some little gimmicky bracelet I had to wear.
So you had a night at the museum as a chaperone?
I don't think they're going to ask me back.
I'm guaranteeing you they won't ask you back.
All bad. But it was very funny.
How are you on Twitter? Time to go to this week's TNA news, ladies and gentlemen. And, things just continue getting more and more bizarre in the courtroom for TNA Impact Wrestling as Scott Steiner has filed a new lawsuit against TNA in addition to the one he already has about breach of contract. This one, though, alleges he was injured by Jeff Hardy because, this is Scott's words, TNA allowed him to, and I quote, wrestle drunk and high in a match that occurred on November 30th, 2011. Now, this was well after Jeff Hardy was sober. The lawsuit states that TNA knew or should have known that their agent, employee, representative, and or servant was too incapacitated, intoxicated, and or under the influence of a controlled substance and should not have been allowed to enter the ring, thus endangering the life, health, well-being, and safety of Scott Rex Steiner. That's the official statement that was placed into a court of law regarding this situation. This is getting dirty.
Let me just say this. Okay?
Let's.
Here's the thing. First of all, how long has Scott Steiner been wrestling?
Gosh, 25.
At least 20 years?
Yeah.
You mean to tell me he did not know, going down to that ring, that if Jeff Hardy was not of proper mindset? You mean to tell me Scott Steiner could have said, I am absolutely not getting in that ring with that young man? If he knew, he knew. He still went and was a part of it. You know what that tells me? You know what my thought is?
What's your thought?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
How do you make that happen? What is you? I'm gonna speak round. Anyways, stop trying to derail me. Here's the thing. It is no secret in the industry that Jeff Hardy is known for working rather stiff and at times a little
They call him the Buick at times. Have you seen that swanton? It's like a Volkswagen coming off the top rope.
But it was a Buick.
Both, whatever you want it to be.
How are TNA and Scott Steiner going to get out of this whole mess? TNA has sued him for his comments on Twitter, disparaging the company. He countersued them for that, saying that they owe him royalties and things of that nature. He has now sued them again.
You know what? That's the only thing I think Scott Steiner could get is the royalties.
Yeah.
Because you know what? That's always a mess in whatever company you're in. It's hard to keep track because barcodes can be put in the wrong way. They could be scanned up as something else. But really, come on. Scott Steiner, respect him as a talent. He's been a top guy, a main draw, big pop-up pump.
Big bad booty daddy.
But he knows. He knows if he's in the ring what to do, what not to do. If someone is messed up in the ring, why do you put yourself in that spot? You don't. You protect yourself.
A big Impact this past Thursday night, and big pay-per-view from TNA coming up this Sunday night, and we talked about that in Booker, obviously, earlier on, but you can check out Sudden Impact Radio right now with Matthew Thomas and the man they call Meathead at pwrshow.com. Live broadcast each and every Thursday night right after Impact Wrestling. Get all the information that won't fit into print here on that broadcast each and every Thursday night from Meathead and Matthew. That's this week's TNA news. It's time to roll into this week's Ring of Honor news. Some good news and some interesting news from Ring of Honor as they have named a brand new authority figure, David Hero. As a matter of fact, this new authority figure is also the official matchmaker, replacing Jim Cornette, who is out with injury. Nigel McGuinness. He came back to Ring of Honor a couple of months back. Now he is, he was commentating, and now he is the authority figure. Human authority figures.
Very good call. I think Nigel McGuinness was a great decision for them. Talented guy, good on the mic. He's respected by his peers. Nigel McGuinness, wasn't he Desmond Wolfe in TNA Impact Wrestling?
He was hungry like a wolf.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, speaking of TNA, how do you feel about this Hour 1 broadcast team of Borash and whoever that guy is?
It's not terrible. I mean, I understand they're trying.
Pretty good.
They're trying to break things up and make the second hour mean a little bit more by bringing the main event team.
Did Brown do that? Nitro did it.
Oh, well, that's why.
Latest internet pay-per-view from Ring of Honor Wrestling, Glory by Honor, David Hero. Got 1,200 pay-per-view buys on internet pay-per-view. Some 300 plus of those fans expected to
and it worked.
Identified as brand new. It did work this time. Identified as brand new fans to Ring of Honor. This live event held in front of about 900 fans as well. Success for Ring of Honor, but you got to question whether or not internet pay-per-views are the way they should go when the owner of the company owns a broadcast network, the same network that owns the station that we broadcast.
And let's not forget, Ring of Honor is coming back to Milwaukee in January. January 19th.
It's on sale.
Yes, they are.
Ring of Honor Wrestling, ROHWrestling.com, rather, for that. Well, David, that's this week's Ring of Honor report. And to round out this very well-rounded show, please go ahead and share with us your intellect, your wisdom, your spin as to who this week's Star of the Week is.
This week's PWR Star of the Week is it's an easy choice for me. I was sitting back talking with my main mandible, Eugene. He told me, you got to go with Wade Barrett, and he's absolutely right. Wade Barrett, the big victory over Brodus Clay on Monday Night Raw. Then he pretty much tells Paulie Heyman, hey, I'm your guy, becoming a big star. Great match with Sheamus. Good things coming with Wade Barrett. He is definitely on the fast track to becoming the next WWE champion, which reminds me, we got to talk about something. Oh. CM Punk and his streak as the champion.
The one you said didn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Do you know why it doesn't matter? I'm going to tell you why it doesn't matter.
Because
it's only... we got 10 seconds. It's the Raw brand, not the WWF company.
I actually like Bill O'Reilly. And when I watch his no spin zone, I actually think he's trying to not allow spin. You just spun that.
No, I did not.
Oh, it's because it's the WWE champion. It's only the Raw.
It's the Raw brand, yes. He hasn't defended against the entire roster.
Yeah, I recall a match recently where he defended it against the World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus.
Not the entire roster.
You are completely ridiculous. You do realize that, right?
I'm adorable.
That
Big
is
difference.
This week's Pro Wrestling Report, PrimeTime Saturday night. And we want to thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, for that one. This one. This is Damian Nelson saying so long, everyone. We'll see you next week, next Saturday, right here on My 24 More.